Students, now we are going to discuss about conventional plant breeding techniques or plant breeding methods. What is conventional method? Conventional means traditional method, old method. Even it is old, it is very much useful even in the modern day today. So conventional plant breeding methods resulting in hybrid varieties had a tremendous impact on agricultural productivity over the last decades. It develops a new plant varieties by the process of selection and seek to achieve expression of genetic material which is already present within the species. Now we are going to discuss about some conventional method of plant breeding. First we are going to see about plant introduction. What is plant introduction? The plant species which are very much useful to the mankind, which is being in overseas or foreign countries or some other places which will be available, that have to be transported and to be cultivated in our own environmental area, in our own agricultural field. And if we are getting benefited, then this is called as plant introduction. So plant introduction may be defined as the introduction of genotype from a place where it is normally grown to a new place or environment. For example, rice variety of IR8 introduced from Philippines by Dr. M. S. Swaminathan, and wheat varieties of Sonora 63, Sonora 64, these are all imported from Mexico. The newly introduced plant variety has to adapt itself to the new environment. That means from Mexico to India or Mexico or Philippines to India, they need certain time to adapt. This adjustment or adaptations of this introduced plant in the changed environment, it is called as acclimatization. So all the plants which have been introduced from the foreign countries or some other places, immediately they cannot adapt because the soil condition is different, because this climatic condition is different, because of this atmospheric condition is different, the pollution or unpolluted area, this is also might be different. And moreover, the plant and animal species and the animal species and ecosystem also might be changed. So hence, the new introduced plant species cannot adapt immediately. If it is adapted immediately, it is well and good. If it is adapted, then this process is called acclimatization. All the introduction must be free from presence of weeds. Very, very important. Once if you introduce the plant from foreign country or some other places, that plant should be free from weeds, free from insects, free from diseases, free from disease causing organisms as well. Then only the introduction will be successful. Even if it is available with various weeds or insects or disease causing organism, they should be quarantined. This has to be carefully examined by the process. This process is called quarantine. A strict isolation imposed to prevent the spread of disease. So introduction may be classified as two different types, namely primary introduction, secondary introduction. What is primary introduction? Primary introduction is nothing but when the plant species introduced variety is well adapted immediately to the new environment without any alteration to the original genotype. This is called primary introduction. Then what is secondary introduction? When the introduced new variety from foreign country or various other places is subjected to selection to isolate a superior variety and hybridize. That means immediately that plant might not be introduced here. We have to select some superior variety in our local plants. Then we have to cross it. Then we have to hybridize it. After crossing it, then they have to be produced new one. So then they have to be hybridized with a local variety to transfer one or few characters to them. The botanical garden is a different parts of the world also played this significant role in plant introduction to bring the foreign plant, and they crossed or hybridized in our local plant and they will be introduced. So this is called secondary introduction. For example, lot of tea varieties, tea plants have been collected from China and Northeast India, initially grown in Botanical Garden of Kolkata. Immediately they will not be planted directly into the Indian soil. First of all, this tea plant from China and Northeast India have been collected and kept in Botanical Garden of Kolkata. In Botanical Garden of Kolkata, they have been hybridized with our local tea plant. Then after crossing this plant, they have been introduced into the agricultural field. So this is called secondary introduction. So if it is directly introduced, if it is adapted, then this is called primary introduction. Then the introduced plants are crossed with our local plant. Then if it is introduced, this is called secondary introduction, which is appropriate clone have selected and introduced to different parts of India. So this is called introduction. So introduction is also important 3 markers. Next we are going to see about selection. We have to select a superior quality, either naturally by or artificially. So selection is a choice of certain individual plants from a mixed population for a one or more desirable tribes. Selection is the oldest and basic method of plant breeding. There are 2 main types of selection. One is natural selection, another one is artificial selection. First of all, what is natural selection? Natural selection is a rule in nature and result in evolution reflected the Darwinian principle of survival of fittest. The nature is selecting. So this is called natural selection. It takes longer time in bringing about desired variation. Now we are going to see about second method is called artificial selection. Artificial selection is a human involved process in having better crops from a mixed population where the individual differ in character. There are 3 important artificial selections are there: mass selection, pure line selection, and clonal selection. One by one we can able to see. First one is mass selection. In mass selection, a large number of plants of similar phenotypes or morphological character, how it is visible on the base of it, they are selected and their seeds are mixed together to constitute a new variety. The population obtained from selected plant would be more uniform than the original population, because we are picking up which is having superior quality on the basis of the size of the fruit, or shape of the fruit, or color of the fruit, or flavor of the fruit or seed, or taste or deliciousness, or various nutrient material which are present on the food. On the basis of it, you have to be selected. So the first selection might be uniform than the mixed group and are not individually tested. It is not perfectly tested. After repeated selection, once again we have to do the same process for 5 to 6 years. The selected seeds are multiplied and distributed to the farmer. This is called mass selection. So what is the only disadvantages about the mass selection is we cannot able to identify. Mass selection is that is difficult to distinguish the hereditary variation and environmental variation. How the variation might be occurred, whether it is due to the genetic character or it is due to environment, we cannot be able to identify. So this is a special thing about mass selection. Next one is pure line selection. Pure line selection is mild difference from mass selection. The pure line selection was coined by the great scientist Johansen in the year 1903. The word pure line. It is a collection of plants obtained as a result of a repeated self-pollination from a single homogeneous individual. That means, suppose in the mixed population, if you have been selected a plant or seed which is very good quality or high yielding or large size or beautiful yield or disease resistant or drought, whatever may be the characteristic features. But if you have been selected a seed or group of seed, these plants have to be cross self-pollinated. We should not allow any cross pollination. That means at final product, all the product are homogeneous. They are homozygous individual. So there is no genetical recombination. So this is called pure line selection. Hence a variety formed by this method shows more homozygosity with respect to all genes because they are self-pollinated. But it is a great problem. The disadvantage of this type is the new genotypes are never be created and they are less adaptable. If there is any disease, if it is affected with one plant, entire plant species will be affected. So they are less adaptable and less stable to environmental fluctuation as well. So this is a major drawback in pure line selection. Now we are going to see about clonal selection. What is clonal selection? Clonal selection is nothing but some of the asexual propagated crops, for example, banana, they do not have any seeds, sugarcane, various types of grass. So these are reproduced asexually or vegetatively reproduced or vegetatively propagated. Such a type of plants have to be isolated on the basis of their superior quality. If you are selecting on the basis of these asexual propagule, then this is called as clonal selection. Do you understand? So some of the plants, they are unable to produce seeds. That means they cannot be able to reproduce by sexually. They used to be reproduced by vegetative method or asexual method. In asexual propagated crops, the progenies derived from the plant resemble in genetic constitution with the parent plant as they are mitotically divided. Based on their phenotypic appearance, clonal selection is employed to select improved variety of mixed population. That means among the sugarcane, you might find that it is thick and delicious taste, sugary taste, lengthy, a dark color of sugarcane. In such a way, you used to identified or isolated or selected on the basis of their quality. This selection is called clonal selection. The selected plants are multiplied through vegetative propagation to give rise to a clone. So the genotype of clone remains unchanged for a long period of time. So that's all about selection. Dear students, now we are going to discuss about hybridization. What is hybridization? We can cross two high yielding varieties of plants. Two different genetically different group of plants or varieties of plant to be crossed together to produce high yielding hybrid, which is called as hybridization. So hybridization is a technique in which is a method of producing new crop varieties in which two or more plants of unlike genetically constitution is crossed together that result in a progeny called hybrid. So the progeny or the offspring will be called as hybrid. So this production of hybrid is called hybridization. So hybridization offers improvement in crops and is only effective means of combining together the desirable characters of two or more varieties or species. The first natural hybridization was observed by a great scientist who was called as Cotton Mather. Cotton Mather. in maize plant. Now we are going to discuss about various steps involved in hybridization. Selection of plant, emasculations of plant, bagging, crossing, harvesting seeds and raised plants are the various steps which are involved in hybridization. First of all, selection of parent. Selection of parent means male and female parent have to be selected. What do you mean by male and female parent? So both the plants are high desired character. That means they may be high yielding plant, they may be disease resistant plant, or they may be drought resistant plant, or they may be attractive flower, attractive fruits, or more nutritious plant, whatever may be. So these are all desired characters. We have to select two different plants which high desired character. One of the plant will be considered as male, another plant will be considered as female. Whether they will be having androecium or called as male plant, or female gynoecium is called female plant. It is not the question. Both the plant might be bisexual. Then only we can possible to cross. But one can be considered as male plant, the another can be considered as female plant. But we can do various steps to be followed. Then we can make it one is male plant, another one is female plant. But both are superior variety, desired character of superior variety. So in such a way, two parent plant have to be selected. So this is selection of parent. So male and female plants of desired characters are selected. Both should be tested for their homozygosity. Then the second steps for hybridization is emasculation. What is emasculation? Removal of anther from female plant. So if you remove anther from a plant, then this will be considered as female plant. So it is a process of removal of anther to prevent self-pollination before dehiscence of anthers. Before maturing of anther, the anther to be removed. Now this plant will be considered as female plant. Look at the picture. The picture is showing emasculation. The person who is removing anther from the flower. So this is a technique in which emasculation. So the next stage is called bagging. After removing the anther, now it is considered as female plant. That means it is having gynoecium. It is having carpel, stigma. Then the stigma to be covered with bag. With polythene bag we should cover, because any other anther, unnecessary or undesirable pollen should not be fall on the stigma of the flower. That is why we should cover with various bag. So it is called, next stage is called bagging. Both emasculation and bagging are shown in the same picture. So bagging is a stigma of the flower is protected against any undesirable pollen grains by covering it with a small bag. Next one is crossing. Then the selected male plant will be selected. From this we have to collect the pollen grain and drop on the stigma of the covered bagged stigma. Then once again have to be rebag again. So the crossing consists of transferring of pollen grains from the selected male flower to the stigma of the female emasculated flower. Afterwards, the cross pollination might be takes place, fertilization takes place, then the fruit and seeds may be formed. So in the harvesting seeds and raising plants, the pollination leads to the fertilization, and finally seed formation takes place. The seeds are grown into a new generation which are called as hybrids. So these are the steps to be followed in hybridization techniques. What are the various types of hybridizations are there? They are intravarietal hybridization, intervarietal hybridization, interspecific hybridization, and intergeneric hybridization. There are 4 different types of hybridization. One by one, we can see. According to the relationship between plants, the hybridization is divided into 4 different types, namely intravarietal hybridization, intervarietal hybridization, interspecific hybridization, intergeneric hybridization. Intravarietal hybridization is the process in which cross between the plants of same variety. Cross between same variety. Such a cross are very much useful only in self-pollinated crops. Then intervarietal. Intervarietal means crossing between 2 different varieties. Intra means same, inter means different. So, in intervarietal hybridization, the cross between plants belonging to 2 different varieties of same species and is also known as intraspecific hybridization. This technique has been the basis of improving self-pollinated as well as crop-pollinated crops. So, intravarietal is also called as intraspecific. Intervarietal will be called as intraspecific. That means within the same species but different variety. So, 2 different varieties which are present in the same species will be called as intervarietal hybridization. Next one is called interspecific hybridization. It is a cross between the plants belonging to different species belonging to the same genus, which is called as intraspecific hybridization. It is commonly used for transferring the genes of diseases, insects, pests, and drought resistance from one species to the another. For example, Gossypium hirsutum and Gossypium arboreum, both are cotton plant. So this plant is Gossypium hirsutum. It is producing yellow color flower. This is Gossypium arboreum. This is producing red color. So both are cotton plant only. If we crossing these 2 different of the same species will be called as same genus but different species will be called as interspecific hybridization. Now we are going to see about intergeneric. That means this is a cross between 2 genus. It is very difficult. So crosses are made between the plants belonging to 2 different genus, 2 different genera. The disadvantages of this intergeneric hybridization is the hybrid might be sterile. Sometimes it is time consuming and also more expensive procedure as well. Lot of plant, man-made plant like triticale, Raphana brassica, these are all very good example for intervarietal. Now we are going to see about heterosis. What is heterosis? Heterosis is nothing but, suppose 2 male and female parents are crossed together, then we will get F1 generation. If the F1 generation is superior than both the male and female parent, then this will be called as heterosis or hybrid vigor. Do you understand what is heterosis? Heterosis, hetero means different, cis means condition, different condition. So heterosis, this was first named by G.H. Schall, was a scientist. First name, use the name or use the term heterosis in the year 1912. Then what is heterosis? Heterosis is nothing but the superiority of F1 hybrids in performance over its parents is called as heterosis or hybrid vigor. Here hybrid vigor means the vigor refers to increase in growth, increase in higher yield, increase in greater adaptability of resistance to diseases, pests and drought. So vegetative propagation is the best suited measure for maintaining hybrid vigor. After producing hybrid vigor, if it is superior than their parent, they have to be maintained for as many number of generation. We have to maintain in vegetative method or asexual method. Since the desired character not last, and can persist over a period of time. Many breeders believe that the magnitude of the heterosis is directly related to the degree of genetic diversity between two parents. Depending upon the nature, origin, adaptability, and reproducing ability, heterosis can be classified into two types. One is euheterosis, another one is pseudo-heterosis. Euheterosis is a true heterosis, it's original heterosis. Pseudo-heterosis is false heterosis. Once again, the true heterosis once again divided into two types. First one is mutational heterosis, euheterosis. The simplest type of euheterosis, and as a result from the sheltering or eliminating of the deleterious or unfavorable, often lethal, recessive mutant genes by their adaptivity superior dominant alleles in cross-pollinated crops. The second category is balanced heterosis. It's a well-balanced gene combination which is more adaptive to environmental conditions and agricultural usefulness. What is the difference between mutational and balanced heterosis? The mutational heterosis means the undesirable, unwanted, necessary genes will be removed. So this is called mutational euheterosis. Balanced euheterosis means it is a well-balanced gene combination. They can be adaptive to the environment condition and agricultural usefulness. So this is called as euheterosis. The second type of heterosis is pseudo-heterosis. It is also termed as luxuriance. The progeny possess superiority over parents in vegetative growth only, but not in yield and adaptation. Usually sterile or poorly fertile. What do you mean? Pseudo-heterosis, which will be producing a plant which is being very good attractive. The leaves are very dark, very broad, long. It is looking very beautiful. But they will not get very good yield. They will not have proper growth. They will not have proper adaptation. Such a type of heterosis are called as pseudo-heterosis. Very clear? Now we are going to see another method is called as mutation breeding. Before we are going to see about mutation breeding, what is mutation? So mutation is nothing but a sudden heritable change. That means if there is any genetic character is changed, the morphological characters as well as the genetical characters, if it is changed, which will be more beneficial to the plant or the yielding or human being, then this is called mutational breeding. Muller and Stadler in their 1927-28 coined the term mutation breeding. So mutation breeding represents a new method of conventional breeding procedures as they have the advantages of improving the defect without losing any agronomic and quality of the character in agriculture and crop improvement. As you know very well, mutation means a sudden heritable change in genotype or phenotype of an organism. So gene mutations are of considerable importance in plant breeding as they provide essential inputs for evolution as well as for recombination and selection. So it is the only method for improving seedless crops. So various types of mutation breedings are there. Physical mutation breeding and chemical mutation breeding. If you are using any radiations or temperature, then this will be called as physical mutagenic breeding. If you are using any chemical substances for breeding, then this is called as chemical mutagenic breeding. So radiation such as ultraviolet short waves, X-rays, alpha rays, beta rays, gamma rays, and many chemicals in chemical mutation breeding like cesium, ethyl methane sulfonates, nitromethylurea, they can induce a mutation to develop new varieties of crops. These are very good example for mutation breeding. For example, triple gene dwarf wheat with increase in high yield and height. Similarly, Atamita 2 rice with salinity tolerance and pest resistance can be produced. These are all the example for mutation breeding. Now we are going to see about polyploidy breeding. What is polyploidy breeding? Majority of flowering plants are in diploid condition. That means two sets of chromosomes are present in almost all the plants. They are called as diploid. So almost all the flowering plants are in diploid condition. Sometimes, if the plants which is having more than two sets of chromosomes, then this condition is called polyploidy. If you are increasing the number of chromosomes, then size of the flower, size of the fruit, size of the seeds will be increases. The roots will be increases. Size of the roots, size of the leaves, size of the flowers will be increases, which will be helping to increase the mankind, increase the breeding. This is called polyploidy breeding. So polyploidy is a major force in the evolution of both wild as well as cultivated plants. Polyploidy often exhibits increased hybrid vigor, increased heterozygosity, increased tolerance to both biotic and abiotic stresses, buffering up deleterious mutations. In addition, polyploidy often result in reduced fertility due to meiotic error allowing the production of seedless varieties. When chromosome number is doubled by itself in the same plant, which is called as autopolyploidy. Lot of plants, for example, a triploid conditions of sugar beet, apples, pear fruits has resulted in increase in vigor and fruits. Fruit size, large root size, large leaf size, large flower size, more seeds and more content of sugar in them. These are all will be providing by polyploidy. These are autopolyploidy. It also resulted in seedless tomato, apple, watermelon and orange. So polyploidy can be induced by the use of colchicine to double the number of chromosomes. Allopolyploidy are produced by multiplication of chromosome sets that are initially derived from two different species. This is alloploidy is man-made. Autopolyploidy is natural. Triticale is a very good example because Triticum durum is a plant, is a very wheat variety. Sickle cereal is another plant. It is rye variety. When a wheat is crossed with rye, we can get a new variety is called Triticale. Similarly, Brassica oleracea, Raphanus sativa. So these are two different plants. These two different plants are crossed together to produce a new plant is called Raphanobrassica. These are all done by allopolyploidy. That's all about polyploidy breeding.